high school boys and girls are having a hop at the local soda fountain. Innocently, they dance. Innocent of a new and deadly menace lurking behind closed doors. Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell. In this film, you will see the ease with which this vicious plant can be grown in your neighbor's yard, rolled into harmless-looking cigarettes, hidden in an innocent shoe or watch case.
If you want a good smoke, try one of these.
You will meet Bill, who once took pride in his strong will as he takes the first step toward enslavement.
Of course, if you're afraid.
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
My motherfucking people. What's up? And I call you my people because we're like a thing now. If you listen to my podcast, you're a cool person. That's it. Fuck what society says. Fuck what your mom says. Especially fuck what your dad Terry says. You're a cool ass dude or female, whatever. Or if you're identifying as nothing, or you identify as like a fucking a glass or something, whatever you want to identify as, you're fucking cool because you're listening to this podcast. I have fallen victim to reefer madness, man. It's real. I'm every time I smoke pot, it just like I've gone through like 5 or 6 girlfriends because every time I smoke pot, I just murder them. I don't know. I just can't help it. I'm so addicted to marijuana that I spend my whole paycheck on the devil's lettuce, and I can't stand it taking over my life anymore, guys. I need to check myself into rehab.
Who is that nasty?
Zach will kill you and fuck your bitch.
People pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm.
Okay. Good fucking morning, my lovely people, my lovely humans of Earth that share this planet. We all share this planet together, and I couldn't be more happy about it. I feel really good about the Earth this morning for some reason, if that sounds really strange. A little bit of context. So, on my days off, I wake up super fucking early and I go out to the Katy Trail. Those of you that don't know what the Katy Trail is, it's actually the path, supposedly, the path Lewis and Clark took through America. So, anyway, I walk on that, or actually jog and walk on the Katy Trail super early in the morning, and I watch the sun come up, and I'm out there really early. I'm like fucking with cows and shit. Like this morning, I was out there fucking with some cows that were like really close to the trail. I mean, they were only like like 10, 15 yards from the trail. And where I live, that's where I know the Katy Trail goes through a lot of different places, but where I live, there's just like grassy fields surrounding the Katy Trail. So you always see cows, and sometimes you see horses. It just depends where you're at. But I like to hop off the trail and kind of go up to the fence and like fuck with the cows. I like to moo at them and like just fuck around with cows because it's so fun, and they have no idea what's going on. They're like, what is this? What the fuck is this dude doing? He's crazy. So anyway, I just felt really happy about being on this earth this morning, just walking around with it was like beautiful weather, like 75. The sun was coming out. It was just perfect, like nice crispy breeze that would come through, and the bright sun with the pink clouds. It was fucking majestic. So I suggest you get up and go walk somewhere early as fuck in the morning, watch that sunrise come up or sunset, whatever is your stick. Anyway, I'm probably going to be a little all over the place with this podcast this morning. I have this weird time in my life where I was living at my dad's house, and I was 16 at the time, and I was living at my dad's house, right? And I wasn't going to school. Like, I wasn't, like, to give you a little bit of background, I've told plenty of stories of being younger, like when I ran away, and around that time I was in like 7th, 8th grade, but I dropped out of school for good in the 8th grade. I just started spending so much time in juvie and just, in and out of being locked up, in and out of court, always doing something for the court system, right? Like taking anger management classes. That was one part of my agreement for release, even though I spent like 90 days locked up. Some of the terms of my release were that I go to anger management, and it's all good. I mean, I met a lot of really cool, interesting people at the anger management classes, and we had a really cool teacher, so that made it a lot easier. And what I find with a lot of these things that try to help troubled kids or troubled teens, particularly the teenagers from like 15 and up, the people that are in charge of those kind of classes or courses or rehabilitation, whatever it is, in my experience, they're all a lot more lax. Like, they're all a lot more chill and relaxed. They like even though you're underage, they let you go smoke cigarettes, have cigarette breaks and stuff like that. And I think that kind of environment, an accepting environment is really good for those kids that are having trouble fitting into society. You know what I mean? The strict, you can't do this, you got to do that kind of mentality or attitude tends to just fire up a lot of kids that are in those situations. You know what I mean? Because we all know what it's like to be a teenager. You want to rebel, you want to show that you know how to do things your way, and you're only going to do things your way. So I think that kind of environment is good for those kind of kids, and you see a higher success rate as opposed to retention rate, where people just are cycling in and out because they just keep fucking up. So anyway, I met a lot of cool people doing that. And so when I was living at my dad's house, I wasn't going to school. I was kind of just like doing my thing. I was hanging out with a lot of the wrong people. Because if you've listened to my previous episodes, I talk about when I got deserted and pretty much left for dead. Not necessarily, that's just being dramatic, but I got left on my own. I got abandoned by my mom, kind of, because, thinking about it as an adult, she wasn't in the right state of mind. You know what I mean? She was on drugs just like I was on drugs, and she had a lot going on, and things coming from all different sides. That doesn't justify anything. That just means that I understand. But I lived with my homie Doug, and this is important because his next door neighbor was this big Pacific Islander dude named Gabe, and he was from California, and he was a Crip gangster or gangbanger. He was from Acacia Block, which is Acacia Block Compton Crips. And if you know anything about Crips or gangbanging or Compton, California, you've probably heard Acacia Block, because they're probably one of the biggest Crip gangs in Compton. So this dude moved in, and I was hanging with him and all of his homies and stuff, and then eventually I had to fit in, you know what I mean? And so the people that I was introduced to, you know what I mean, I'd have to make a good impression on, because Gabe was helping me out, getting me in the game. And I'm not going to beat around the bush, sell crack. That's one of the ways that I was able to make money when I was living with Doug and shit like that. I was selling crack. And I know that sounds stupid, but you really have to get it how you live. You're a product of your environment. You know what I mean? When there's little opportunity for people that are struggling, what other options do you have when nobody else will help you out? Especially, when you're a young kid and you're on your own, and the only people that are trying to help you out are these gangbangers and shit like that. So I had to dress the part so I could look the part, talk the part. I just had to, be that person. And I did, you know what I mean? I would get blue Chucks, blue Dickies. Back then, tall tees were still cool. This was like 2007, 2008. So tall tees were still cool. So I would wear, tall tees and blue bandana print hats, blue bandana hanging around my neck. I just had to look like it. And thinking about it now, it's no wonder that I got jumped all the time, because I definitely looked a little weird. You know what I mean? I was a white kid with really long hair, dressing like a gangbanger. So it definitely put a target on my back. So, but anyway, I sold crack, and I was out there on the corner every single day hustling in those alleyways. And where we lived was right by the naval base. And we lived a couple blocks away from the entrance. And you'd be surprised how many sailors and how many sailors' wives and how many like big general people in the Navy would come and buy crack from me in their Navy uniforms. They would literally buy crack. And people in our Navy are smoking crack. I mean, still to this day, they have to be. You know what I mean? There's no way that after I stopped selling crack, like, people just didn't smoke crack in the Navy anymore. That just... So there's people in the Navy smoking crack. And I don't know how to feel about that. I didn't really care at the time. It was just like, whatever, you know what I mean? I wasn't making a lot of money off of each sale. So I was trying to sell as much as possible. So it was just a strange time, you know what I mean? To have like 2 or 3 Navy dudes pull up in a truck, just like a regular Ford F-150 or something, and they, they all buy quads or they all buy dimes or something like that, and you're just like, you guys trying to make money off this, or are you, really smoking? You know what I mean? And then it's really weird when, one of them pulls out a straight crack pipe out of their belt line. They just right there in the alleyway, like, yo, I gotta get fucking high before my shift. It's like, yo, for real? You're high on crack? On those ships? On those giant aircraft carriers? You're smoking crack? That's crazy to me. I just don't understand. Oh. These must have been people that, did not get drug tested very often. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know. I've never smoked crack. I've done a lot of cocaine, but I've never smoked crack, which a lot of people that don't know about drugs, they think cocaine and crack are different things. They're not. Cocaine and crack are the same thing. It's just crack is a different form in a different form. It's literally still cocaine. It's just in rock form because it's been cooked. So yeah, and it gives you a little bit of a different high, I'm assuming, because you smoke it. I don't know. I know when you do cocaine, though, you do a nice line of actual good cocaine. Your fucking whole right side of your face will go numb, or left, whatever side you snorted it on. The back of your tongue or your whole mouth will go numb. Cocaine makes you numb as fuck, and it gets you lifted. So you get all this energy, and then you're numb, and it's a weird feeling. And I got a lot of crazy stories about doing cocaine with Jewish people in the mall, and just because they all worked in the mall, and we all used to set these days up to where I would skip school with my girlfriend at the time. We'd pull up in the mall parking lot, do a bunch of cocaine. One of the dudes that sold it to us used to be the manager of one of these stores, and he used to let us come in and steal from the store. Like, he knew we were stealing, and then after he'd get off, he'd buy the stuff from us for like a cheap price. So, and then, he would obviously resell it, is what I'm assuming, because his fat ass was not fitting in any of the clothes that we stole. So, but that's not the point. So I was selling crack and stuff, and that's how I got by. And that's important because that's like, imagine, a white kid dressed like that, looking like that, and I'm not a scrub. I'm not going to say I'm like a beautiful person, but I look fine. I'm decent. So seeing a kid like that, dressed like that, doing these things, hanging with these people, that's the image I had back then when I was 16. And I was living with my dad, and he never really said anything to me about my lifestyle. He would tell me every once in a while that, I'm fucking up and shit like that, and I need to get my shit straight, and he was right, you know what I mean? But, when you're a hard-headed teenager, you don't want to hear it from anybody, you know what I mean? You want to do things your way. And I should have taken the advice I was given when I was young. But hey, you learn from your mistakes, right? So it's summertime, and we live on the block, which is Wilbert Avenue. It's hard to explain. It's a block, you know what I mean? It's a neighborhood. It's just a street, and there was a lot of people like me that lived around that area. So a lot of people that dressed like me, like a gangbanger, and a lot of people that were true to that, like 3 blocks away from my house was a street, excuse me, was a street of a bunch of Filipinos that were claiming Piru, which is like a branch of Bloods. So it was a little awkward to walk through my own neighborhood sometimes. I got beat up several times because all those pussies don't fight fair anyway. They fight, 4-on-1, 5-on-1. I never ever had a chance, especially being, just a scrawny, tall white kid. But anyway, so it's summer and we're chilling. And a few days prior, this girl, Karina, and her sister, Taylor, who lived, one house over from me, they used to hang out with me all the time. And Karina wanted to try to impress me so much. She would literally do anything. And I kind of had my own little clique of homies, and we'd all, be dressed like Crips. I'm throwing up air quotations right now, just so you know. It's cringy to talk about. But we would all dress like that, and, we would pretend to be hard, or, we would act like that, it wasn't pretending. So Karina would try really hard to impress me and impress us. And I would have her do stuff for me all the time. And this is going to sound, I'm not even going to talk, well, fuck it. I used to send her down to this old man's house. And he would take pictures of her, of her tits and her butt and stomach and shit like that. He would take these Polaroid pictures of her, and he would pay her for the pictures. She didn't have to do anything physical, just pictures. And then she would come back and give me the money. And, I always broke her off a little bit, but literally thinking about it, I was pimping her out. I did that shit for a while. I would literally hit her up at a random day, and I'd be like, hey, I need you to go down to blah, blah, blah's house. And she'd be like, oh, okay. She'd go down there and get a quick $45-50 for a few pictures, and You know what I mean? I'd toss her, sometimes I'd only toss her like $5-10, but most of the time I cut her off $20. You know what I mean? Just a 20, just there you go. Thank you. I'll see you later. And so anyway, her and her sister came up to me one day. We were chilling on the street, and she was like, hey, my sister Juliana is moving to town. She's moving in with us, and she'll be here, in a few days. And she was like, you're going to love her, which I don't know why she said that, because she wanted to date me so bad. She's like, you're going to love her. She's 19, and I was 16 at the time. She's 19. She's pretty. She's blonde. And I was like, oh shit, bet. And then that day came, and it was around like 6 o'clock at night. I cruised down to Karina's house, and Karina and Taylor come out, and they're like, hey, we want you to meet my sister. Juliana comes out, and she walks up to me, like right up to me, and like I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And like it was a little strange, like, cause like I felt this connection almost. I'm not gonna get like all fucking sappy and shit, but we ended up doing a lot of fun stuff that night. We went to Taco Bell, walked through the drive-thru, you know what I mean? But anyway, I met their sister, and we ended up dating, even though Karina tried to lie the first night we met. And she told her sister, she's like, no, me and Zach are dating, so, we're a thing. Which was not true. And anyway, me and Juliana end up dating, and we start dating for like 2 weeks before she gets kicked out of her house that she's living in. And I was like, you're not going back to California. I was like, you're moving into my house or my dad's house, and you're just going to stay with me in my bedroom, and we'll be good. It was a little difficult at the time because she had an 8-month-old baby. And but I was like, I'm all in. And I had no idea what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was just a kid, man. I thought I was in love. And so I move her in, and I've talked about that whole thing. And we lived with my dad for a little while, before, it all went to shit. And I remember this one morning, my dad came into our room, because before the first time I moved her in, when I first moved her in, we had a really small bedroom. And it was really cramped in there, you know what I mean? Because we had all the baby stuff, her stuff, my stuff, and just a lot of stuff. And so my dad said we could move to the end of the hallway into the master bedroom, which was, like twice the size. It had its own private entrance, and it was cool. So we moved into that room. And I remember my dad came in one morning, and he was like, hey, wake your ass up. Your Aunt Diana got you a job. And I was like, fuck, what the hell? Like, straight out of a dead sleep. 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what the fuck's going on. He said, go down to SureClean. Your Aunt Diana got you a job. And SureClean is a car wash, a full service car wash. Literally 2 blocks down the road. So I walk down there. The lady pulls me in the office. She's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Sign this. Here's your hat. Here's your jacket. Here's your shirt. All this stuff. I was like, wow, is that easy to get a job? I didn't even try. And I worked that was my first official job, working at SureClean Car Wash, which was dope because it was a full service car wash. You pull up, you go through the car wash, you pull around depending on what you paid for. I could shine your wheels and tires. I could do a full service, which would mean you get out of your car. I vacuum and detail the whole inside, plus I do wheels and tires, and I wipe down your entire car dry. And I used to make pretty good tips. There was some days I would make, $70 to $100 a day. But on average, I usually made like $40-50 a day. And since me and Juliana lived with my dad, we didn't have really any bills. I mean, we had to pay for diapers and food, but she had food stamps, which I didn't even know was a thing until I met her. I've heard of food stamps before her, but when I thought of food stamps, I literally thought of like actual like stamps, paper stamps, and apparently that's how they used to be. And that's crazy to me to think about. People had to carry around actual paper food stamps. So, but anyway, I would spend all my money on like junk food and weed. That's like it. And I mean, and diapers and some baby stuff every once in a while that he needed. But I remember this one time we were at my grandma Vicky's house for like a Thanksgiving type dinner. It was like a little early, but she wasn't going to be around for the actual day. So it was me, my brother Quentin, my brother Ashton, Juliana, and her child Jaden. And we were at my grandma Vicky's house. My grandma Vicky is awesome. She's like one of those really cool grandmas that, you know, just is like really cool about everything, and she'll give you all the food you want, all the sweets. And she's like super active. She goes scuba diving in Fiji and Hawaii, and she just sold her house and everything that she has. And her and her husband have a truck and a fifth wheel, and they travel around the country and they ride their bikes in all these new places. And she can do that now, you know, because she's retired and that's what she wants to do. So I'm really happy that, you know, she's living out her dream. But on the way home that night, it started to snow like really, really bad when we got to my grandma Vicky's house. Like really like big flakes that were just piling up really fast. And we left about 8:00. And the snow had already piled up, like, I don't know, 11, 12 inches. It was crazy. And, I mean, we were there for a while. We were there for like 6 hours. So the snow had plenty of time to pile up. And we left. It was a slow-ass drive back to Bremerton from Port Orchard. And on that ride, I asked my grandma Vicky for a little bit of money. You know what I mean? And or I had asked her before we left, but I reminded her on the drive home. I was like, hey, remember I asked you for money? And she gave me $80. And I was like, awesome. I know exactly what this money is going to. And I, after we got home, you know, we said our goodbyes. Me, Juliana, and the child get back into the room, and we get all situated, and I hit up my plug, and we'll call him Magic Mikey because that's what I called him. And he was an awesome fucking dude. I think I've mentioned it before. I used to buy all my pot from him through Taco Bell. So I would go to Taco Bell, like order tacos, and my weed would be in like a little nacho bag. Just legit, probably the most legit way that I've ever bought pot, or maybe not legit, maybe my most favorable way of buying pot. And so I hit up Mikey and I was like, hey, I got $80, and he was like, bet, you can come by. He was like, I got some like Fruity Pebbles stuff, and it was really good pot. I hate the names that they call this shit sometimes, but he was like, yeah, bet, come on through. And he lived probably 7 miles away on the other side of town, way across town. Like, Bremerton's a huge fucking town. So I was like, I really want to smoke pot. Like, I was like, I really want some weed. So I dressed up, because at this time the snow was literally like up to your fucking knees, and it was crazy. It was a legit blizzard. And I dress up, get ready to go face the brazen weather. And I remember leaving my house and getting to the stairs, and I couldn't tell where the stairs were, because the snow was so deep. It just looked like a slanted ledge. You know what I mean? So I grabbed the handrail and I tried stepping on stairs, and I just shoot, doop, 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 all the way down the stairs. And I don't know why I mentioned that. It was just fucking funny. And anyway, so I start my trek all the way to the other side of town. Slowly but surely, I get to the bridge. I cut through the college, which was a really eerie feeling because there was, nobody there. It was really dark and these little street lights were on and all the snow. It was just a crazy feeling. And I get to the bridge, which is the Warren Avenue Bridge. And I cross that thing, which is a fucking long ass bridge, dude. It's like, I don't know, at least 4 or 5 football fields long. It's fucking crazy. Maybe not 5, but, maybe 3 football fields. But it's long as fuck, and walking on it in that snow was super sketchy. So anyway, and I'm only halfway there, and I've already been gone for like 2.5 hours. I got Mikey hitting up my phone. He's like, yo, bro, you gonna be here sometime? And I'm trying to, text him back on my old phone. We didn't, it wasn't touchscreen. It was one of those Jukes that kind of look like just like a bar, like a rectangle, and then you can flip it out like a stiletto knife. And, it was just a weird fucking phone. So texting him back with my gloves on those tiny buttons. I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm walking. And he's like, you're fucking walking? You're crazy. Cause he knows where I live. And I was like, yeah, bro, but I'm fucking desperate. I need this. So I finally get to his neighborhood and I'm so fucking thirsty. I grab a handful. I take my gloves off and I grab a handful of snow and I'm like trying to melt it with my mouth. I'm like blowing on it, trying to melt it and take little sips of water coming off of it. And then I realized, or I learned, that I could just make a snowball and suck on it. Like, you know what I mean? Just suck on the snowball and suck all the ice or the water out of it. And I thought I was a fucking genius for some reason. I was like, yo, does everybody know about this? Do they know you can just suck on snowballs? So dumb. And anyway, I get to Mikey's, and of course I can't go inside, you know what I mean? Because it's a drug deal and his grandma's. I mean, it's like really late at this time. I think it's like, I don't know, probably 11 or 12 at night. So I go around to his window. I knock on his window. And he was like, God damn, dude. He was like, you take long enough? I love coffee. He was like, you take long enough? I was like, sorry, bro. It's really hard to walk in this shit. And it was a really far walk. So I get my pot. I pay him. And I walk all the way back. And I remember I get to the end of the bridge where I'm about to get onto the college property. And I walk like halfway through the college and I start feeling in my pockets and I'm like, I can't feel my weed. Where the fuck is my weed? Where the fuck is my weed? I have no idea where my weed is. So I literally backtrack all the way to the bridge. I follow my exact footsteps. I don't make any new ones. And right there, right at the end of the bridge, there's my bag of weed in the snow. I'm so surprised I found it. Because all those little nugs in the bag just look like a few little rocks in the snow. So I fucking pick that thing up really fast and I stuff it in my glove this time so I have a hand on it at all times. And I walk all the way back home. I get home. I'm so exhausted. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm fucking just dead and cold because I've been out in the cold for fucking hours and hours and hours. And I get to my back door and Juliana is freaking the fuck out. And my brother's in there. My dad's in there. Juliana's in there freaking the fuck out. Everybody's tripping. And I open the door and they're like, oh my God, what the fuck? Where have you been? What the shit? What the fuck? And I was like, yo, I fucking told you where I was going. Why are you tripping? And she's like, you've been gone like 5 hours. And I'm like, dude, I have to walk at, the pace of a snail to get through this fucking snow. And they ended up calling a bunch of my friends to go like drive around and look for me. They ended up calling the cops to try to find my body because they thought I was dead. It'd only been like 5-6 hours, something like that. I got back home, it was like 2 a.m, and they were just freaking out. Juliana was crying because she was like, you were walking in a legitimate blizzard and you weren't answering your phone and blah blah blah. So but I was like, I pulled out the bag and I was like, but I got the weed, you know what I mean? And everything was okay. Then I gave my dad a little nug because I wanted him to try this bud. And you know, me and Julianne, I got warmed the fuck up. I had like, my hands were like paper white. I couldn't feel my fucking hands at all, because all I had was those little shitty, like, you know, 50-cent cotton fucking gloves. And anyway, yeah, so we smoke and we get stoned as fuck. And I almost had hypothermia. And yeah, it was a great time. And I remember their faces when I opened the door, like they'd just seen a ghost, you know. It was really a strange feeling. But I was so confused. I told you all where the fuck I was going. Well, not all of you, but Juliana, you know where the fuck I was going. Why are you freaking everybody out? But anyway, which is we had weird fucking times in that bedroom. Like, I remember we used to hang out with this dude named David. I met him just randomly one day, and he was a really cool dude. And we used to hang out a lot, drive around in his little red car all the time, which was a little fucked up because sometimes it would be, you know, me, David, Juliana, David's girlfriend, which was Katie, which was a girl that I used to date back in the day, which was just a weird thing, and then the baby, Jaden. And we would be driving around, you know, and this fool would be blasting music so fucking loud that it would hurt and rattle my ears. And I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, bro, like tapping him on the shoulder. Dude, we got a fucking baby in the back, and your windows are rattling so hard they're about to shatter. Big bro, you gotta fucking chill, dude. There's a child in here. And he did that all the fucking time. He just didn't realize that you can't do that with a baby in the car. I mean, I guess you can, but then don't be surprised when they're retarded when they grow up. From that fucking brain rattling around everywhere when you fucking listen to music that high. Anyway, I remember we were all chilling in the room one night. It was me, David, Juliana, and his girlfriend, Katie. And we were drinking a little bit. We were drinking a little bit of this peach schnapps, which was just fucking gross. And we were all getting a little fucked up. We were smoking, having a good time. And I remember I turned like the lights out because we were all like chilling. And they had the couch, which pulled out into a bed. We pulled that out, and they were laying back, relaxing, watching a movie, and we were on our actual bed, laying back, watching a movie. And me and Juliana are making out, getting into it. David and Katie are making out, getting into it. And then we had this weird thing where we were both fucking our girlfriends, and we were basically having a contest on who could be the loudest, you know? We didn't say it was a contest, but it was a contest. So we'd be fucking, she'd be getting loud and loud and loud, and then you'd hear them fucking getting loud and loud and loud, and we just kept getting louder and louder and louder and louder, until, you know, we finished, and it was like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? We finished, had to turn the lights on and all look at each other. Like, what the fuck were we doing? So weird, but, ugh. Good times, man. Good times. And yes, the baby was out of the room for that one. Just weird, fucking weird times in that bedroom. A lot of good times, but a lot of strange fucking times. Like having a fucking contest with one of your friends and his girlfriend. Like, it's just strange. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my rambling. I just kind of rambled about a little bit of everything. Today I didn't really have any direction. So if you actually stuck around, like always, I appreciate you and everything you do. You're amazing. You're beautiful. Don't ever let anybody tell you any fucking different. Anyway, I'm gonna hop off of here, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful evening, whatever you're doing, getting a blowjob, getting a blumpkin. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could do a blumpkin. Now that we're talking about it, dude, I don't know, man. That girl would have to be a fucking trooper. But anyway, we're not gonna go there. I love you guys, and until next time, go tell your loved ones how much you truly love and care and appreciate every single one of them. You never know when your final day is coming. You never know when that's gonna be. So make it known how much you care about the people that surround you or you surround yourself with. I love the fuck out of you guys. Peace the fuck out.